Hello guys, Joe from Bekusen Makgeolli. Now in today's video we're going to talk about 5 reasons to learn how to make makgeolli, and I promise you that hopefully by the end of today's video then you'll be convinced to make this amazing drink that's very unique and a national cultural heritage for Korea. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so number 1 is you don't need any fancy equipment. As a matter of fact, 90% of everything you have in your kitchen, you can already pretty much start and make your own makgeolli.
Excellent!
Okay, so yes, things like bowls, measuring cups, a colander, probably a steaming cloth or a cheesecloth, little things like that. They don't require a lot of money, and you can probably just go to any mom pop's shop, or you can go into your parents' kitchen and steal all those things. But yes, so when it comes to making makgeolli, you don't need any fancy equipment. As a matter of fact, I got started making makgeolli as a hobby, and in Korea, I used to live in a one-room studio, and I used to run a very somewhat complicated makgeolli operation there, but I managed to, again, not have any fancy equipment. Probably the only thing that you need to buy is a steamer. Okay, now I do recommend a good steamer for this, but again, it's not going to cost you over $30 or anything. And if you want to go really even much cheaper than that, you can go to any supermarket and get one of those baskets, steaming baskets that are very easy to get. There are some pros and cons about using those, but you can even get started with those. Okay, so again, there's no excuse of not making makgeolli. You don't need to upset your wife or your parents of taking over the kitchen in order to make some amazing alcohol. Okay, so yes, number 1, no fancy equipment, and it's very budget friendly. So there you go. So number 2 is makgeolli is a great introduction to fermentation. Now a lot of times if you haven't brewed anything, then you'll see, I always like to say how makgeolli is always very comparable to as cooking. As a matter of fact, centuries ago, it was just a part of Korean cuisine. It wasn't seen as something different. As much as you can see nowadays, many Korean families have their own kimchi recipe. Back then, every Korean family used to make their own makgeolli. So, it was part of their everyday meal, if anything, right? So, that being said, also the reason why makgeolli is very friendly in some ways. Now, it's because it's quite simple, but I don't want to say simple is always easy. It's quite simple, but of course it can get very deep. However, when it comes to being a beginner and trying to make your own alcohol, if you follow the steps in order to make a good makgeolli recipe, then it's going to be you're going to have a winning alcohol, okay? So when we make our makgeolli, we mix all of our ingredients, we put it in the jar, and then nature takes care of itself. That's how I would say pretty simple it is. But yes, it's a great introduction to fermentation. And then later on, once you get those basic concepts, then everything starts getting more, then you can dive into more detail, traditional recipes, and things slightly change. But again, it's a great introduction to fermentation. Number 3 is you can enjoy a lot of different variations just by learning how to make even one makgeolli recipe, okay? So what do I mean? So not to get too deep again, if you want to get into the recipes and all that, again, check out our website and get into the makgeolli resource page. As a matter of fact, if you're a beginner, I would recommend going into our sticky rice or chapsal makgeolli-making recipe, which is going to lead you into the right direction and perhaps avoid a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of information here and there online, or it's very scarce when it comes to making makgeolli, but we try and do our best to organize everything. If you want to nerd out a little bit more and you enjoy Korean culture and you want to dive deep more into Korean fermentation, we also have a book which is called Homebrewing Korean Rice Wine, which is available on Amazon. And also you can check out our online course called the Complete Makgeolli online course. And that will even teach you how to make your own nuruk. Everything's in video. And if you like that stuff, then that's where you need to go. Okay, but that being said, okay, now we can enjoy different variations. So what do I mean with that? So again, just to make things very simple, once we make our makgeolli, and for a simple recipe, you can actually filter your makgeolli after 7 days. And then once you do that, you get, your liquid, your first makgeolli. And in this case, you can actually enjoy that. For a very basic and simple recipe, that will be about 12 to 13% of alcohol. Now, this type of makgeolli is called a danyanju, or a single-step alcohol or single-step fermentation recipe. Now, once you get that, then amazing, you can enjoy that. Or if you don't want to finish it, then what you can do is you can put it back into a vessel or a jar and let it sit for a little bit. Now, what starts happening at that moment is that the rice sediment sits, okay, falls down, obviously, and then all the foundation of your alcohol will come up. That clear rice wine part is actually called cheongju, okay? Cheongju is clear rice wine part, okay? So you can actually enjoy the cheongju, which is more sophisticated. Actually, it was something enjoyed more back then for the elite class or scholars or people with money. So they would scoop all that out and enjoy it, and you can pretty much do the same. So you will have a more delicate, premium Korean rice wine without all the rice sedimentation mixed, okay? So you can enjoy that. Also, if anything, if you're into distillation and you want to make amazing traditional soju, then you can actually grab that cheongju and make it into, and distill it and make really kick-ass soju. So there you go. So again, or what happened back then is once they would scoop the cheongju out, they would have this rice sedimentation in the bottom. They would add water, and then they would mix it, filter it quickly, and then they would have makgeolli. So you can also water things down at some points and enjoy more of the makgeolli at the same time. So again, you can get the first squeeze, okay? You can get that makgeolli. You can wait for that clear rice wine part, or you can also distill the cheongju and get traditional soju, right? So just out of learning one thing, you can get many things. How cool is that?
Excellent!
And the best thing too about making makgeolli is that you can make your own creations. It's so flexible when it comes to using your own ingredients. So you can infuse your makgeollis with different starches such as sweet potato. You can use dry fruit. You can also use fruit juice. You can use, instead of adding water entirely, you can make teas. So it becomes a very personalized type of rice wine that you can give it your own character and your own signature, right? And especially, obviously, your own microbes too. So making your own creations is very awesome when it comes to making makgeolli. I've myself tried with probably a lot of fruits that are in season here in Korea. So when it's winter, I've tried yuzu. When it's during the springtime or fall, when it's usually in the springtime, I'd say I've tried Korean fruits such as chame or strawberry almost in December too. Oranges, go nuts. You can experiment, or even dry herbs. There's a time and process when to add your ingredients. Now, if you want to check that out, we will have a different video for that. But in any case, pick your own ingredients and start making crazy makgeolli. It's gonna pay off. Number 5 is enjoying makgeolli with great Korean meals. Okay, just like if you go to a fancy restaurant and you have steak and wine, or if you go eat sushi and you have some sake, either warm or cold, then why not Korean food with makgeolli or sul? There's plenty of dishes that there are plenty of Korean side dishes. There are plenty of Korean soups. There's plenty of Korean food, everything. So every food can be paired with a great makgeolli. Again, like I said, not every makgeolli is going to be the same. So, or even better, what I like is I like to have very traditional Korean meals with cheongju. Now, cheongju can be a little bit pricey if you buy it outside, but that's one of the wonders about brewing your own sul or Korean alcohol, because you can enjoy your own booze and pair it with a Korean meal. How awesome is that, right? So, and even drink soju at the same time.
Excellent!
So those are all the 5 reasons to learn how to homemade your makgeolli. Okay, it's a great starter for people who haven't brewed anything. I think that's number 1. And number 2, it's great because you can actually get a lot of things just by doing one thing. And number 3 is very friendly when it comes to not spending a lot of money too. Again, those are just a recap of a few of the reasons here. If you guys have any questions, then please you can comment below, and we'll do our best to reply. And yeah, and also if you have questions or would like to know a little bit more about makgeolli, please check our links. We have great resources in order to take you from just a regular makgeolli taster into a makgeolli brewer. Okay, all right. I was Joe. Peace out.